Have you ever met someone who changed your life without even realizing it? Watch till the end, because what happens between a struggling mother, her little girl, and a stranger on a rainy road will truly melt your heart. And if you believe kindness still exists in this world, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Stories of Kindness for more real-life moments that restore faith in humanity. It was a cold, rainy evening when Sarah's old car suddenly sputtered and stopped in the middle of a deserted highway. Her daughter Lily sat quietly in the back seat, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. Sarah's hands trembled as she tried to restart the car, but the engine refused to turn over. She looked around nervously. There were no houses nearby, and her phone battery was nearly dead. "Don't worry, sweetheart," she whispered to Lily. "Mommy will figure this out." But deep down, she was scared. They were miles from home, soaked and alone. Then, through the misty rain, a pair of headlights approached. A sleek black car pulled up beside them, and out stepped a tall man in a suit holding an umbrella. Sarah immediately grew cautious. She didn't know whether to trust him, but something about his calm, gentle tone made her lower her guard. "Need a hand?" he asked. "Looks like your car's seen better days." Sarah explained her situation. She was a single mother trying to make it back from a job interview in the city. The man smiled warmly. "I'm no mechanic, but I know a thing or two. Pop the hood." For the next 20 minutes, he stood there in the rain, sleeves rolled up, fixing the car while refusing to let her help. His expensive shoes were covered in mud, but he didn't care. Finally, the engine roared back to life. "There we go," he said, shaking the rain from his hair. "Try not to drive too far before getting it properly checked." Sarah thanked him over and over, trying to offer him the few dollars she had, but he waved it away. "Just promise me something," he said, looking her in the eyes. "Help someone else when you get the chance." With that, he got back into his car and drove away into the rain. Months passed. Sarah never forgot that man's face, though she never even learned his name. Life was still hard, but she finally got a stable job at a local cafe, and little by little, things began to improve. Lily often talked about the nice man who fixed our car, and Sarah would smile, wondering who he really was. One morning, the cafe was busier than ever. The town's biggest company, Ridgway Industries, was hosting a charity breakfast nearby, and several important guests had stopped by. Sarah was pouring coffee when she saw a group of men in suits enter the cafe. They were accompanied by photographers and local press. Among them was one familiar face, the same man who'd helped her that night. Her heart nearly stopped. He was standing right there, laughing and shaking hands. Before Sarah could react, little Lily, who had come to visit her mom at work, tugged at her apron and pointed excitedly. "Mommy, that's the man who fixed our car!" The entire cafe went silent for a moment as everyone turned toward them. The man paused mid-conversation, his expression softening as he recognized them. Slowly, he walked over. "You remember me?" he said kindly, kneeling to Lily's level. "Of course I do," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "You helped us when no one else would." The room buzzed with whispers as people realized what was happening. The reporters started snapping photos. The man smiled and extended his hand. "I'm Daniel Ridgway," he said simply. Sarah blinked in disbelief. Daniel Ridgway, the CEO of Ridgway Industries, one of the wealthiest men in the city. "You're the CEO?" she stammered. He nodded. "But that night, I was just someone who saw a mother and child in trouble." Daniel then turned to the reporters and said something that would leave everyone speechless. "You see," he began, "kindness doesn't need titles. It doesn't care about status or wealth. That night, I didn't fix a car. I helped someone who reminded me what truly matters." He looked back at Sarah and Lily. "And today, I'd like to offer you something. We have a position open at our corporate cafe for a manager. I think you'd be perfect for it." Sarah covered her mouth in shock. Tears filled her eyes as she accepted. As Daniel walked away, he looked at Lily and winked. "Keep looking out for people who need help, little one. That's how we make the world better." The little girl smiled wide and hugged him tightly. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. And sometimes The person who helps you in your darkest hour turns out to be the one you least expect. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Stories of Kindness for more stories that prove good people still exist.